Throughout the summer, when I put in a new plant, I'll add worm castings to the existing plants. I just pull back the grass, add the castings around the root, and put the grass back to cover. But at this point in the summer, it's really wearing thin. So it's time to do a second layer. This vine was supposed to be a zucchini. Oh. Okay, so step one, I'll cover the entire bed with a layer of compost. And this time, instead of moving the grass out of the way, I'll put the compost right on top of it. It's kind of hard to see, but it actually raised the bed height a couple of inches. So this is building soil. I won't say it's like the forest, but it's in the spirit of the forest. Here's layer one. Both beds have a nice layer of compost. You may have already guessed it, but the next layer is leaves. I soaked these leaves overnight to rehydrate them. The second these wet leaves hit that compost, these are going to explode with all those lovely white strands that we all like to see in our gardens. All of the biology that I just added with the compost will deeply appreciate these leaves. They'll also help me out a little bit with weed suppression. And ultimately they'll rot down and they themselves will become soil. One or two more of those and we'll be ready for layer number 3. If you've watched my videos, you already know that this next layer is going to be grass. One more. Everything is nice and tidy-ish. I have more garden than this. Thing that I just did to those other 2 beds, I'll do this to all of this. While all of the squash flowers are closed, I'll water all of this in. I'll give this compost a little spritz as well. This is the end of the pile where I composted all of the cardboard. I want to keep this spot moist because I'm going to immediately start another compost pile. Before I run completely out of compost, I need to put a layer on the wild worm box. Past time to start aiming this bed at a harvest. This is the wild worm box that I set up using only worms that I caught from a compost pile, which means they will be acclimated to my garden. The bedding here is all sand, silt, and clay. You can see there's still some left around the edges, but mostly sand, silt, and clay, the leaves, and the food scraps have all combined to turn into this. Now I'm putting my edges into the center. I've tried not to disturb this very much to respect the behavior of earthworms. They burrow by nature. I'm hoping at this point that they've made burrows beneath the box. I think I'm going to try to harvest this by doing a horizontal migration. I'll pull the worms out of that section over to here where I'll put new bedding. I've been doing a trench feeding on this bed since I put it together. This time, we're going to put the food mostly on this end. My hose nozzle is on the fritz. My corners are quite dry. So this is a do as I say, not as I do situation. For anyone who is a beginner, it's best to use a water nozzle set to mist. Worms use water. Well, all worms and microbes, everything that's in here that's living, uses water as its mode of transportation. To encourage them to be active and move over, I'll do the whole top. These are treats for the worms. That's crushed eggshell. This is hemp powder. Now just to really get this little ball rolling, this is the compost I just got out of the compost pile. Here's some pre-soaked leaves. Now as the food dwindles on this half, everyone should naturally migrate down. And once they've all moved over, I'll harvest this side. This should make some happy worms for a couple of weeks. As you can see, what goes into the worm box and what goes into the compost is almost the same. And ultimately, this is what goes into the garden. Well, ultimately, it goes into me. Learning to build soil, learning to garden definitely has its rewards. I won't say hard work has its rewards, because this isn't hard. I see you, lazy gardener. Slow down. You're working too hard. Thanks for watching. See ya.